Hey everyone, this is Angela with Lost Room Reviews, and I'm here for another version of Blu Monday. This week on Blu Monday we have 2 Blu-rays but 1 DVD. So first up this week we'll go ahead and do the DVD. American Grindhouse. This was an indie film that I saw at South by Southwest a couple years ago, and so it's now being put out on DVD. It's worth seeing it at least once because it's pretty interesting. It's a documentary that features the history of exploitation films basically, and kind of the culture around that and what kind of a people we were then as opposed to what we've become now. If anything, it's kind of sad because the film lets you realize just how puritanical our country is nowadays as opposed to back in the 40s and 50s when these films were in grindhouse theaters, you know, in shallow little corners of the streets and stuff. But they cover the range of films, whether it be like slasher films or, you know, what turned into porn later. They just have every single market covered. It's pretty funny at times. They show a lot of older trailers, and sometimes you go, okay, I want to write that down because I want to see that movie now. As far as special features, they actually have one of the coolest features on there was a feature that lets you see a whole bunch of old trailers, just like a gallery of old film trailers. Some of them are, you know, okay, I kind of want to see that, and then some are just really terrible, but it's a range of them. There is also about 2 hours of outtakes from all of the directors and filmmakers that they interviewed that they say it's hilarious, but I literally fell asleep through it just trying to watch it. So I wouldn't even suggest looking through that unless you're really wanting to get an extra scope of, you know, what kind of things went down in the 70s and the 50s and whatever else. So it's definitely worth a watch, but I'm only going to give it a rent because it doesn't have much rewatchability after finding out the story of how film came about. So next up on Blu-ray we have Life Durring Wartime, which is a film by Todd Solondz. This is kind of a quasi sequel to his previous film Happiness, which basically, I mean, it is almost the same storyline of those characters being told a few years later, but they're all played by different actors, if that makes any sense. Some of the people cast in the roles were absolutely fantastic, and the film was shot beautifully, so it really kept my attention on that, but it was such an odd story that it's immediately going to just kick out 95% of the population, and they're just not going to be into it. So it's a very hard film to watch, not as hard as what I've heard Happiness is. I haven't actually seen that one yet, but according to the director, he was asked if you need to see this. You don't. You can take this in as its own piece and get a different view from it, or you can watch the first one and then kind of connect the two. The special features on this I like. There's actually one where the director sits and talks, where he just answers questions that were written into him. And it's really informative. You kind of get a really good picture of how this guy's kind of really odd, and it helps to paint a picture about why this film turned out the way it did. So that helps a lot. Then there's also kind of an inside the actor's mind kind of thing where they sit down with a lot of the main actors from the film and get their opinion of what it was like when they filmed with Todd Solondz and how he's very meticulous of every single detail of the film. No one could offer their own opinion on the character, or they just had to leave the set. And he picked out the hairstyles and the clothes and every single book on the shelf, everything down to the very last thing was picked out by him. So for that I have to give him credit. It's very weird film, but it is interesting to see nonetheless. And it did have me thinking. For a couple of days afterward, I was talking with other people who had seen it, and I was like, what do you think about this? Was he thinking like this? So that is definitely something that I give it credit for. Again, it's not a film I don't think I would watch it a lot, so I'm just going to give it a rent this week. So go ahead and check out Life Durring Wartime. So then last this week we have on Blu-ray Winter in Wartime. This is a Polish film, so it is foreign, but it's a fantastic story of a younger boy who's, I think, age 14 when World War II is going on, and he is living amongst war. There's fear in everyone's eyes, and it's getting a sense of what it was like when the Germans invaded their home, and he is trying to live his life as a young boy when he is all of a sudden thrust into kind of adulthood and things he has to do, make right choices or just kind of stay out of it. It involves family, it involves trustworthiness and love and danger, and it is a captivating story. I absolutely loved it. And one of the final scenes literally had me like standing up, you know, when I was watching it, just so excited about how it ended. So absolutely a fantastic story that I think everyone should check out. Not that many special features. There's really just one that's like a making of, but it actually does add a lot to the filming of it. You get to hear interviews with the main characters and why they were cast and what kind of filming experience they had, and you sit down with the director and he talks about his love for the book and why he wanted to make this into a film. So it's actually a very entertaining special feature, even though it was kind of short. On that note, it probably wouldn't behoove me to say that you should buy this film, but it's such a fantastic story that I think I would watch it again. I'm going to say buy it. You should go buy Winter and Wartime. So that's it for this week on Blu Monday. Tune in next week for more reviews.